bringing forward new charges against the Clinton crime family, ladies and gentlemen. This according to an exclusive from the Daily Mail. The Clintons in the crosshairs again. Republicans demand new probe into Bill and Hillary Clinton after report reveals FBI top brass shut down 4 criminal investigations. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, including millions and millions of dollars in foreign donation and speaker fees flooding into their coffers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is of course a bombshell story. Why does it always end like this? Right? For these politicians. Why does it always turn into this? For individuals like Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton, where the most evil regimes around the planet funnel and fund them in order to curry favors with our American government. Doesn't this expose the entire game here? Isn't this like actually the point? The point is that the FBI and the federal law enforcement agencies, they protect not truth, justice, or the American way. They protect institutional power. That's what John Durham proved. Now, I don't feel bad for Peter Strzok or Lisa Page. You can watch Peter Strzok. The guy's clearly demon possessed. But you almost kind of feel bad for these people in this way. And I know Media Matters is watching this. Clip this part. How about this? You feel bad for them because they're like caught inside of a mafia game where you better kiss the ring. And if you don't kiss the ring, you'll be destroyed. And so Peter Strzok was betting, having read the polls in 2016, having read all the corrupt corporate press, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, they were betting that Hillary Clinton was going to win. And hey, listen, man, it's hard to really blame them if you looked at the polls at the time. Now, maybe some of you were saw it very clearly, but I got to tell you, even I was reading the headlines and looking at the polls up to the 2016 election, and I was shocked, and I was at Trump's victory party in Manhattan in 2016 on November 4th. I was there. I was physically in the room. One of the great honors and fascinating moments of my entire life. I will remember it to the day I die. Nobody, including Donald Trump, was planning on him winning the election that night. And when he came down that staircase at 2 a.m., I was standing right there and I was shocked. Ladies and gentlemen, the people at the FBI were like, there's no chance that Donald Trump's going to win. We might as well start serving Hillary now, the queen, before she gets to the throne, and do away with the stuff she wants us to do away with, investigate the trash that she shoves in our direction, and we better do it full bore. There's an article from the Free Press this morning that I thought was absolutely spectacular by Eli Lake. The FBI didn't persecute Hillary, it protected her. This article is an absolutely spectacular breakdown of what John Durham found in the FBI's protection of Hillary Clinton. And that's where we have to start effectively. We have to start with what did the FBI know and how did they behave, all right? At the time, the Bureau was looking into Donald Trump's campaign ties to Russia, as well as Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server when she was Secretary of State. In July 2016, FBI Director James Comey announced no charges would be brought against the Democrat nominee. Then 11 days before the election, in light of new information, Anthony Weiner's laptop with a file that said life insurance on it. What does that mean? Can we ask those questions? We need to do an entire series on this. There was a file on Anthony Weiner's laptop that said life insurance. And of course, Anthony Weiner was married to Huma Abedin, who's like number 2 in Clinton world. Was like Hillary Clinton's little fluffer or whatever. Whatever she actually did for Hillary Clinton. Nobody is quite sure. Don't ask too many questions there. But what exactly did the life insurance file mean? We're not sure. We don't know. But because they found that laptop, they had to reopen the investigation into Hillary Clinton. To this day, Democrats remain convinced that Comey's last-second announcement, which we can all agree was ham-handed, cast a pall over the campaign, tipping the scales in favor of the Republican nominee. That's a neat story, but it's only half of it. What John Durham uncovered is that, if anything, the FBI leadership bent over backwards to protect Hillary Clinton's campaign while launching a full investigation into the Trump campaign on the thinnest of possible pretexts, on zero evidence. In other words, the FBI is not really the Clinton campaign prosecutor, it was the protector of the Clinton campaign. The speed and manner in which the FBI opened the investigation Crossfire Hurricane during the presidential election season, based on raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence, the Durham report reads, reflected the noticeable departure from how the approach prior matters involving possible attempted foreign election interference plans aimed at the Clinton campaign. Oh, what does that mean, John Durham? Reading to you directly from the Durham report. The Durham Report notes that in early 2016, a confidential FBI source arranged a sizable donation to the Clinton campaign's financing from a foreign country, meaning that one of the FBI's own sources was planning on giving a huge ton of money to the Clintons based on a campaign contribution from a foreign nation. What is that nation? Probably China or Russia. The FBI, instead of investigating this, they briefed Hillary Clinton on it, and then they warned that person to stay away from the Hillary Clinton campaign because it would hurt her. Because this is obviously illegal. You cannot do this. Foreign governments cannot interfere in our elections, quote unquote. They cannot donate to presidential campaigns. In one separate occasion, the report points out that the FBI agents strongly suspected another foreign government of planning to contribute to Clinton's campaign, hoping to curry favor with Hillary Clinton. But the FBI field office requested a sign-off on a surveillance warrant application for a non-U.S. citizen suspecting of having been in contact with Clinton headquarters demurred. They were tiptoeing around Hillary Clinton because they thought she would be the next president, an official told Durham. You see that there? Boom, right there in the article. They are tiptoeing around Hillary Clinton because they thought she'd be the next president. Possibly the most egregious example of special treatment by the FBI's probe was the Clinton Foundation charitable organization that raised money from foreign governments, even when Hillary Clinton was senator and later Secretary of State. By the beginning of 2016, 3 FBI field offices were investigating the Clinton Foundation. Did you know this? Do you know that one of those FBI field offices is in Arkansas? That's because the Hillary Clinton Foundation has a huge office building in Arkansas. The Clinton Foundation operates out of Arkansas. Did you know this? Oh yeah, baby. Why isn't Sarah Huckabee Sanders ordering an investigation into the Clinton family? Why isn't a district attorney in Little Rock, who actually had to fight a Soros-backed attorney and won, this guy is right-wing, why aren't they opening up investigations into the Clintons? These are questions we need to start asking. So what happened here? The Bureau effectively took all of the investigations into the Clinton Foundation. There were 3 of them. 3 of them, and instructed them to not open any overt investigative steps that will require sign-off from Andrew McCabe. In May of 2016, a Comey aide called the New York field office, where they had consolidated all of the investigations in the Clinton Foundation, and asked the investigation to cease and desist, citing an undisclosed counterintelligence concern, which would have effectively meant you would be exposing the candidate for president that we want to be the president as a fraudulent foreign apparatchik. Exactly what they're doing to Joe Biden right now. Hillary Clinton is someone who has been bought and paid for by the governments of Saudi Arabia, Russia, China. And they do that through exorbitant speaking fees, through massive donations, through quid pro quos. And the Clinton Global Foundation was, of course, the Epstein-linked foundation. Jeffrey Epstein managing some of the principal there. Jeffrey Epstein doing trips around the world with Bill Clinton in his private plane for the Clinton Global Initiative. They didn't want to open up that can of worms for the person they wanted to be president. And they thought that Hillary Clinton was such a shoo-in that they better not dare touch the operation that she had, which was far more sophisticated than what the Bidens had, in order to launder foreign cash into the Clinton bank accounts and use that as a piggy bank. So then they shut down the investigation without issuing any subpoenas, effectively ending the probe. So this was what the FBI did to Hillary Clinton. Meanwhile, as soon as they got a scintilla of evidence, and there is no actual evidence, all they had was rumor that the Russian government was holding something over Donald Trump's head, they opened up a full investigation. Not a preliminary investigation, a full investigation with the full powers of the federal government, and they did not do any defensive briefings. They did defensive briefings, multiple defensive briefings for Hillary Clinton. They did not do any defensive briefings for Donald Trump. Defensive briefing is like, hey, yo, this person is caught up, George Papadopoulos or someone is caught up. We think that they might be communicating with the Russians. That would be bad for you. This is something that you should consider when you're talking to this person. We're spying on them effectively. They did that for Hillary. They didn't do it for Trump. So ladies and gentlemen, that's how we get here to this date when the Hillary Clinton campaign manager, Robbie Mook, walked onto the set after the DNC convention and looked Jake Tapper in the eyeball and said, hey, we think that Donald Trump is working with Russia. This is the date. This is the exact set date and time when Russia collusion lie started. And the FBI not only supported it, even though they knew, according to the Durham report, that Hillary Clinton was running this as an op against Trump. They knew that this was a lie. The FBI not only supported it, but acted as Hillary Clinton's personal police force to manufacture and to merchandise this lie. We've actually hunted down the very moment that Russian collusion was first posited to the corporate press. This beginning a 4-year-long witch hunt against Trump, all predicated on a lie and enforced by federal law enforcement.
So I have to ask, what is the reaction of the Clinton campaign to these DNC leaked emails suggesting that top officials, including the CFO there, were actively discussing ways to hurt Bernie Sanders in the primaries?
Well, I think the DNC needs to look into this and take appropriate action, and I'm sure that they will. What's disturbing to us is that experts are telling us that Russian state actors broke into the DNC, stole these emails, and other experts are now saying that the Russians are releasing these emails for the purpose of actually helping Donald Trump. I don't think it's coincidental that these emails were released on the eve of our convention here. And that's disturbing. And I think we need to be concerned about that. I think we need to be concerned that we also saw last week at the Republican convention that Trump and his allies made changes to the Republican platform to make it more pro-Russian. And we saw him talking about how NATO shouldn't intervene to defend our Eastern European allies if they're attacked by Russia. So I think when you put all this together, it's a disturbing picture, and I think voters need to reflect on that.
Really important to go back in history and to see how they did this. This is really important. Everyone else has moved on from the Durham report, okay? And there's a lot of people that are very critical of this report, and I can understand that. He didn't suggest any further prosecutions. Well, that's because the jury system in America is broken. The jury system in America is apparently going to put Donald Trump in jail for jaywalking in New York, Alvin Bragg. But John Durham, who has demonstrable evidence of guilt of lying to our federal government, which is all this is, lying to the federal government. Hillary Clinton's lawyer, Igor Dranchenko, all the demonstrable evidence he presents to these juries in Washington, D.C., and they let these people go. He did it twice. Michael Sussman, Igor Dranchenko. And he was able to get, they were acquitted by juries. Why? Because of the mind virus. Because leftists live inside of such a hermetically sealed bubble, and they live inside of such a bizarro world without facts and reality, tied to any facts and reality, that there is no such thing as justice anymore. Don't travel to liberal cities. Don't travel to blue areas of the country. I'm telling you, I'm going to stop doing it. Because if, God forbid, you're on a subway car, or again, if you spit out your gum into the wrong vestibule, then you will be prosecuted. If they can find out that you are the wrong skin color or the wrong political affiliation, these people don't function in reality any longer. That's why John Durham didn't bring any further prosecutions. And also because he was limited in his scope by Bill Barr, who's another nefarious actor in all of this. But nonetheless, John Durham does go back and look at the origins of the launch of the Russia collusion narrative. Now, Jake Tapper, having heard what Robbie Mook just said, goes, wait a second, what evidence do you have that Donald Trump's working with the Russians? Listen to this.
What evidence is there that the Russians were behind this in terms of the hacking or in terms of the timing by WikiLeaks?
Well, we need to let the experts speak on this. It's been reported on in the press that the hackers that got into the DNC are very likely to be working in coordination with Russia. And again, I think it's, if the Russians in fact had these emails, again, I don't think it's very coincidental that they're being released at this time to create maximum damage on Hillary Clinton and to help Donald Trump.
But it's a very, very strong charge that you're leveling here. You're basically suggesting that Russians hacked into the DNC and now are releasing these files through WikiLeaks to help elect Donald Trump.
Well, this isn't my assertion. There are a number of experts that are asserting this. I think we need to get to the bottom of these facts, but that is what experts are telling us. Experts have said that it is the Russians that in fact went in and took these emails, and then if they are the ones who took them, we have to infer that they are the ones then releasing them.
Filthy people. These are dirty, dirty people. And doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't it sound so familiar? The experts say 51 intelligence experts came together. It's the same effing playbook every time. 51 intelligence experts said that Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation. How many times do we fall for this? How broken is our system? How corrupt is our government? How fake is this clown world that we live in? This culture that we call America? How fake is this all? It's bewildering. And man, if you go through the way that our incredible executive producers at the show have done and gone through and put the breadcrumbs together, you'll realize they just did the Hillary Clinton, the entire Russia collusion thing. They did it again with Biden. So you can recall on stage, Joe Biden goes, hey, when Donald Trump brings up the laptop, Joe Biden goes, hey, there's a bunch of, come on, man, here's a bunch of special guys. They got some badges and the CIA, and they said this is malarkey. Hey! And this is exactly what Hillary Clinton said. She did the same thing. They lean on the intelligence agencies because they believe that the intelligence agencies still have some type of faith and credit of the American people. And since they control them, they can get the result that they want. Watch.
17 intelligence agencies, civilian and military, who have all concluded that these espionage attacks, these cyber attacks, come from the highest levels of the Kremlin, and they are designed to influence our election. I find that deeply disturbing, and I think it's
she has no idea whether it's Russia, China, or anybody else.
I am not quoting myself.
No idea.
I am quoting
Hillary, you have no idea.
17 do you doubt 17
our country has no idea.
Civilian agencies? Well,
yeah, I
we'd
doubt
rather
it.
believe
I doubt it.
Vladimir Putin than the military and civilian intelligence professionals who are sworn to protect us. I find that just absolutely
She doesn't like Putin because Putin has outsmarted her at every step of the way. Excuse me. Putin has outsmarted her in Syria. He's outsmarted her.
17 intelligence agencies. Now, one, that is a bald-faced lie. That has been disproven time and time again. There were not 17 intelligence agencies. And oh, by the way, why would Hillary Clinton know that information? She wasn't serving in any public office at the time. She should have had her security clearance stripped a long time ago. That seems like collusion from our intelligence agency. But if you were to ask that at the time, it would seem bewildering. This is how far we have reached terminal velocity in the destruction of institutions in our country. These people are evil, they're vicious, and they will destroy justice itself. They will destroy the agencies whose task it is to keep all of us safe. And you could argue if they've ever performed those tasks. And that's a good argument. It's a good question. But they will rot. They will rot them to the core for power. They will keep Dianne Feinstein, who is a corpse in a wheelchair, rolling around the halls of the Senate for power. They will put a mentally handicapped man in office representing Pennsylvania for power. And they will put a man with full-blown dementia who would be resigned to the rec room of the nursing home during applesauce hour, Joe Biden. They will put him in the Oval Office. They'll do anything to maintain that power because they are vicious, atheistic, humanistic individuals who see nothing but power on this earth. They fancy themselves gods, just like the old people of Babylon. And so they must control the Tower of Babel. In case you're wondering what our modern day Tower of Babel looks like, and if it rhymes a little bit with what Hillary Clinton just said, here, watch Joe Biden from his presidential debate with Donald Trump.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about? China. I have not had it. The only guy who made money from China is this guy. is the only one. Look, there are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani. Come on, man. Hey, you know Trump did and Rudy Giuliani? Hey, they got together and come on, man. CIA's on my side. How much these people can truly rot a system. Now they are looking to open up the Hillary Clinton investigations once more. I do not make it a regular thing that I do on this program to criticize Donald Trump. Now I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why. One, because I think that he's one of the greatest presidents, or arguably the greatest president of my lifetime, based on his accomplishments. But number two, because so many other shows just literally make that that's the entire edifice of their show, right? The entire soul of their show. Go turn on to MSNBC right now. Donald Trump currently doesn't hold office, and even when Donald Trump hadn't even announced for president yet, all programming was just about Donald Trump. It is utterly saturated. But I will state this in just the slightest possible criticism of Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, he should have followed through on this promise. It is one of the most quotable, if not arguably the most viral moment in American political history, inarguably. And this is a promise that should have been followed through on, and I know why he didn't. And I'll tell you about it in just a second. Watch.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail. You can walk into any, give speeches around the country. You can walk into any room of conservatives, 500 people in Michigan or 1,000 people in the villages here in Florida, and you can say, because you'd be in jail. And everyone knows it. Everyone knows that line. Everyone knows that line. You can put it on a t-shirt and everyone will know what you're talking about. No other context, no interest, because you'd be in jail. Donald Trump did not make good on that promise. Republicans, when they had full control of the House and the Senate, did not investigate Hillary Clinton. They did not continue these investigations. They did not set up a special counsel to investigate Hillary that was outside of the political bounds, which is what they should have done, and then set up a special counsel to investigate Joe Biden before he ran for president. That's what should have happened. These people are criminals, and if they were innocent, then a special counsel would have exonerated them, and I probably wouldn't be doing the show right now, but they'd be in prison. That's how you actually get them in jail. You have will to power. The will to power is the will to turn over every rock. The best part about being a Trump supporter is that you can sit there and say, this man has seen the sharp end of every investigative spear that exists in our society. And he has come out unscathed. Multiple impeachments, a special counsel that went on for years, the entire deep state colluding against him, as has been evidenced by the Durham report. And you know what? Donald Trump walks free to this very day. FBI raids on his house, so on and so forth. There's a new special counsel. There's another special counsel looking into Joe Biden's classified documents. I expect both of those to go nowhere. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. You can sit there and affirmatively say that he is the most acquitted president in American history. But what about Hillary? What about Bill? What about Joe? Why do they scream and fight so hard? Why do they push back so hard on these narratives that these individuals are corrupt? Well, because they are. And because just the slightest scratch in the surface, just take a penny and go to that lotto ticket. The slightest scratch in the surface would reveal, and is revealing, such undeniable, demonstrable evidence of their corruption.